upang matugunan ang mga kinakaharap na pagsubok ng mga guro at mag-aaral sa gitna ng kasalukuyang pandemya. Nagsanib tulong sina Congressman Charlie Cojuangco ng unang distrito ng Tarlac, DEPED Region 3 Regional Director Dr. May B. Eclar at Tarlac Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Ronaldo Poson para sa isang napapanahong proyekto na tinaguriang Project Shine, Aral TarlakHenyo. Ang mga mag-aaral ng Grade 4 at Grade 5, ganon din ang Grades 8 and 9 sa buong probinsya ng Tarlac, kasalukuyang sumasailalim sa radio-based instruction. Katuwang ang himpilang DZTZ 828 kHz AM at RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Ang Tarlac po nangunguna po ngayon pagdating po sa radio-based instruction. Marami pong humahanga sa atin. I'm very happy this station, itong DCTC, could reach the whole of Region 3. Hindi natin alam, we are contributing. We are creating a very big dent in the history of Philippine education. And I am proud. I am here in Tarlac. This is the noble cause of education in which you and I, without you knowing it, we are bound to do.
Project natin na Project Shine is a natural consequence dahil sa nangyari sa buong mundo. Let's continue to work together. I think it's very Filipino to practice bayanihan in anything or most of the things that we do. And this is a manifestation of that. No? We have private sector, we have DEPED, we have local government, all working together. And I hope the parents of some of these children, especially the parents that did not graduate from school or hindi nakapag-aral nung sila ay bata, sana naman gamitin na nila itong opportunity na mag-schooling na rin sila kasama ng mga anak nila para mag-bonding pati ang mga magulang sa mga bata. I look at this as doing God's work. Diba? So if you do God's work, it feels right. It's righteous. It's for good, not for evil.
Good morning and happy learning, grade 4. Welcome to
Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26.
Simulcast over DZDZ 828. Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
I am Teacher Mercy Pacheco Bognot. This is Alistair Aidatu.
I am Marie Josephine B. Andrade.
I am Teacher Princess Marie M. Dueñas, and I will be your teacher broadcaster for today.
Hello there, grade 9 learners. Welcome to another exciting Thursday learning experience. This is Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26, simulcast over DZTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. We are also broadcasting live at Converge Cable Channel 100. This is Ma'am Hazel Grace Barroso from San Julian Santa Maria High School, your teacher broadcaster for today. How are you, students? I hope you're doing great. Today, we are going to discuss the second lesson of the second quarter in English 9. So before we start, make sure that you have your modules with you along with your notebook and pen as we explore the wonders of English 9 literature. Are you ready? Let's begin. Today's topic is an enrichment of the last topic discussed, which was on making connections between text to particular social issues, concerns, or dispositions in life. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to, first, differentiate the types of connection, and second, make connections between text to particular social issues, concerns, or dispositions in life. In this episode, we will go through the following activities. Activity 1, let us begin. Activity 2, let us take note A. 3, let us take note B. 4, let us apply. And 5, let us strengthen. As we go through our topic, we shall use the concepts in the first lessons. The 3 types of connections you used in making connections with the poem Air by Rudyard Kipling. These 3 types are: number 1, text-to-self connections, which means personal connections that the reader makes between himself and the material. Second is text-to-text connections, which is connection between the material read to another material. And third is text-to-world connections, which is connection between the material read and the current issues and happenings of the world. Let's start with activity 1. Let us begin. Read the 4 lines of the Sonnet 43, How Do I Love Thee, by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. For our viewers, it will be flashed on screen, and for our listeners through our radio station, please follow through your learning activity sheet. Complete the anchor chart below by continuing the given statement. Let us now read the last 4 lines of the Sonnet 43, How Do I Love Thee, by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I love thee with a love I seem to lose. With my lost saints, I love thee with a breath, smiles, tears, all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Now, after reading those lines, what time of your love does it remind you? How about what story or another poem does it remind you? Or what real-life situation does it remind you of? You may now write your answer in your answer sheet, or you may type your answers on the comments section. Your answers are all acceptable, since those questions help us to be connected with the text easier. But most importantly, these questions serve as your guide in distinguishing what type of connection you used after reading a certain text. Here are the guide questions you can use to determine what type of connection you need in order to understand more of a certain text. The first one is text-to-self connection. We have, what does this remind me of in my life? How is this similar or different from my life? Has something like this happened to me? How does this relate to my life? In text-to-word connection, we have I read about something like this before? What does this remind me of in another book I read? How is this text similar or different to other things I read? Those are questions for text-to-text connection. And lastly, we have the text-to-world connection. We have, what does this remind me of in the real world? How is this text similar or different to other things happening in real world? How does this part relate to the world around me? Let us now try to use these concepts and discover more by going through a poem analysis with this activity 2. Let us take note A. Read each item carefully. Choose the letter of the correct answers. Are you ready? Let's begin. Read the poem with me. Sonnet 43, How Do I Love Thee, by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee with depth and breadth and height my soul can reach. when feeling out of sight for the ends of being grace and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of everyday's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. I love thee purely, as they turn from praise. I love thee with a passion put to use, in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose, with my lost saints. I love thee with a breath, smiles, tears, all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Now, which of the following statements best describe the central theme of the poem, How Do I Love Thee? Is it A, love is unconditional and eternal? B, coming of age is when one is willing to give up everything for another person? C, true freedom comes from freedom of the soul? Or D, love requires sacrifice and is not always? The answer is A. Love is unconditional and eternal. We will understand more of its theme as we go through the next items. This sonnet helped kickstart more on the theme of modern Victorian love from a woman's perspective. Note, the emphasis is on the repetition and reinforcement of the speaker's love for someone. There is no mention of a specific name or gender, giving the sonnet a universal appeal. But who do you think is the speaker of the poem? Is it A, William Shakespeare, B, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, C, Robert Browning, or D, Petrarch? Alright, the speaker of the poem is most probably Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Have you noticed there is a repetitive word, the key phrase of love, I love thee, and the word thee, which we can say contributed greatly to the poem's overall emotional effect. But to whom does thee refer? Is it A, the speaker, B, the speaker's lover, C, God, or D, man? You are correct. The speaker uses the word thee to establish right away that she is addressing her lover throughout the poem. We can observe that speaker poses the question that's going to lead the entire poem. How do I love thee? Lines 2 to 4 suggest that her love is all-encompassing, stretching to the limits, even when she feels that her existence, which is the word being, and God's divine, which is the word grace, might end. It's the love she has for her lover that sustains. Note the contrast between the attempt to measure her love with rational language, which are the word depth, breadth, and height, and the use of the words soul, being, and grace, which implies something intangible and spiritual. Now in lines 5 to 8, the speaker continues with her passionate need to differentiate the many ways her love for her lover manifests. She clearly tells the reader that she loves him enough to meet all of his simple needs during the most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. The day, which is the word sun, and the evening during the night, which is the word candlelight. Her love is unconditional and therefore free. She doesn't want anything, for this is freely given. It is a humble kind of love, untainted by ego. Now, read these lines from the poem. I love thee with a passion put to use. In my old griefs and with my childhood faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose, with my lost saints. Based on these lines, what can you conclude about the speaker's past? Is it letter A? There have been times of joy and pride in the speaker's past. Letter B. There have been times of sadness and loss in the speaker's past. C. There have been times of hate and violence in the speaker's past. Or D. There have been times of boredom and disgust in the speaker's past. That is correct. It is letter C. There have been times of hate and violence in the speaker's past. The speaker now looks to the past and compares her newfound passions with those of the old griefs. She might have a negative past as an adult. In contrast, her childhood had been a happy one, as she refers to the second half of the line 10, a child faith is pure and innocent and sees fresh opportunity in everything. How about in these lines? I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. This shows that her returned love is her very breath. Not only that, but also the good and bad times with her lover. On the last line, if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. What does this line reveal about the narrator's perspective? Is it A, the speaker believes that she and her loved one shall be together in the afterlife? B, the speaker fears she will be separated from her loved one after death? C, the speaker believes her love is so strong that it will not fade until death but grows stronger? Or D, the speaker has faith in a grand design that God will choose what is best for her and her lover. Alright, the speaker believes her love is so strong that it will not fade even in a death but grows stronger. The theme Barrett Browning's poem is that true love is an all-consuming passion, unconditional and eternal. The quality of true love, the poet especially stresses, is its spiritual nature. True love is an article of faith, references soul, grace, praise, faith, saints, and God. How create this impression? The last line confirms the power of true love asserting as it is eternal, surviving after even death. That's the end of Activity 2. Congratulations! You have just connected with the poem. Now, to understand more the 3 types of connection, let us try the next activity. Let us take note B. Read each item carefully. Identify whether the statements are true by putting the check mark and X if the statement is false. Let's go on to item number 1. I saw a program on television that talked about eternal love like this in the poem. Is an example of text-to-self connection. Is it an X or a check? Alright, it is an X. It must be a text-to-text connection, since the speaker was reminded by a program on television which also came from a text before portrayed. Item number 2. Sometimes when reading, readers are reminded of other things that they have read, other books by the same author, stories from a similar genre, or perhaps the same topic. These types of connection are text-to-text connection. Is it a check or an X? That is correct. It is true, therefore a check. Text-to-text connections are connection between texts we have read to another text. Item number 3. The poem How Do I Love Thee reminds me of how I love my family is an example of text-to-word connection. Is it a check or an X? You got it right. It is an X. It must be a text-to-self connection, since the speaker was reminded of her own feelings. Item number 4. When I read the line "I love thee" to the level of everyday's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight, I remember the times I always show my mom how I love her. Is an example of text-to-self connection. Is it a check or an X? Correct. It is true. Therefore, a check. Last item, we have the item number 5. I understand how the speaker of the poem feels because I already experienced loving the same way. This is an example of text-to-text connection. Is it a check or an X? Alright, it is a check. This is because the speaker was reminded of her own experience. That ends Activity 3. Congratulations! You're now ready for the application. Let us now check how well you learned with our topic. Let's have Activity 4. Let us apply. Choose what type of connection is present in each situation using the corresponding emoji. Star emoji for text-to-text connection, heart emoji for text-to-self connection, and flower emoji for text-to-word connection. You can write your answers on your learning activity sheets. I hope you're ready. Let us now begin. Anna said after reading a book, "When I read about Minjin being mean to other students, I think about how when I was in grade school, there was a mean girl in the playground. One time, she even pulled my hair." What type of connection is presented? Very good. The answer is heart emoji, because Anna was reminded of her own experience. Number 2. The story reminds me of a documentary I watched on CNN yesterday, where a guy got caught stealing a bike and he fell off the bike as the police were chasing him. Is it a star emoji, a heart emoji, or a flower emoji? The answer is heart emoji. Star emoji. It is because a documentary also came from a narrative text. Third item. The news article about the COVID-19 pandemic I read last night made me think about how people surpassed the influenza pandemic in the 1918 and the H1N1 in 2009. The answer is flower emoji, since the impact of the news article reminded the speaker about what is happening in real world. Next item we have, Lisa said, "The moment I read the article about saving animals, it made me feel more grateful to the approved policies and bills in the Senate about saving endangered animals." The answer is flower emoji. This is because when Lisa read the text, she immediately thought of a bill and policy which were implemented in real world. Last item we have, it seems deja vu that I bumped into someone while walking in the streets, holding these flowers. Oh, I remember now. I read like this the other day in one of the romance electronic book in Wattpad. Karil screamed with appeasement while telling her story to her best friend. What emoji shall we put? Correct. It is heart emoji. Karil has connected her experience to the book he had read. That's the end of Activity 4. You did well. You really applied the learnings you acquired from our topic. I hope your learnings on making connections and differentiating them will help you understand more certain text and apply it to help you understand more of the real world. Now, you are all geared up to strengthen your learnings through the next activity that I will be giving you, which you will be accomplishing after watching this episode. Make your own poem with your own title while having the same theme with How Do I Love Thee. You can use any of three types of connection. Highlight the lines that illustrate the type of connection you have used. You can use the following ways to highlight: underline for text-to-self connection, double underline for text-to-text connection, and italicized or slant for text-to-world connection. Be guided by the following criteria flashed on your screen. This is also given in your learning activity sheets as part of the rubric. Wow, you really did great and fantastic today, grade 9 English learners. I hope you always practice making connections with whatever you read, for this will surely help you understand more of its theme and message, thus giving you a widened perspective of the literature and the world. Until our next Learning Discovery learners, here with Aral TarlakHenyo on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26, simulcast over DZTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. This has been Ma'am Hazel Grace Barroso, your partner in discovering the wonderful and fantastic world of English 9 literature. Have a great day, everyone!
Sa pagnanais na mapigilan ng ating pamahalaan ang pagdami ng bilang ng mga kaso ng COVID-19, binuo ang One Hospital Command Center o OHCC upang mas mabilis na matugunan ang medikal na pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Bukas ang OHCC 24 oras araw-araw. Tumawag lamang sa mga hotline nito sa 0919-977-3333 o 0915-777-7777 o 02-886-50500. Maaari ring i-download ang Pure Force Citizens app sa Android o iOS upang mabilis na matugunan ang sinumang nangangailangan. Layon din ng OHCC na maiwasang mapuno ang kapasidad ng bawat ospital. Kaya't kung ikaw ay kinakailangang tumawag sa OHCC, mabibigyan ka ng libreng preliminary consultation. Para sa mga nangangailangan ng emergency quick response, makikipag-ugnayan ang OHCC sa DOH bed tracker at sa mga ospital upang makahanap agad ng pinakamalapit na bakanteng ospital. Ang transportasyon o ambulansya naman ng ospital na inirefer ng OHCC sa pasyente ang siyang susundo sa bahay nito. Kaya't kapag ikaw ay nakakaranas ng anumang sintomas ng COVID-19 o nangangailangan ng agarang tulong medikal, tumawag lamang sa OHCC at handa silang tumulong sa lahat ng oras.
Alam niyo ba na ang Pilipinas ay mayroong 7,641 islands? Mula sa bilang na 7,107 islands, nadagdagan ito ng 534 na isla noong 2017. Tanging 2,000 lamang sa mga islang ito ang natitirhan. Alam niyo na! Yan ang mga isla sa Pilipinas.
I'm back! This is Sorzi, your teacher broadcaster.
Magandang araw mga kapantas!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo.
Alam niyo ba na ang gitnang Luzon ay tinaguri ang banga ng bigas ng bayan at kamalig ng palay ng Pilipinas dahil dito nagmumula ang malaking produksyon ng bigas sa ating bansa. Ito ay binubuo ng mga lalawigan ng Aurora, Bataan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Zambales at Tarlac. Ugaliin nating manood ng Aral TarlakHenyo Lunes hanggang Biyernes alas 8:30 ng umaga hanggang alas 5:30 ng hapon. Ako si Binibining Pia Isrin Capiral, ang inyong teacher broadcaster sa Araling Panlipunan dito sa Project Shine Aral TarlakHenyo. Lagi nating tandaan ang pag-aaral ng Araling Panlipunan ay tungo sa daan ng pagiging makadiyos, makakalikasan, makatao at makabansa.
Welcome sa ating Aral TarlakHenyo ng Schools Division of Tarlac Province. Hatid sa inyo ng RTV Tarlac, Channel 26 at ng DZTC 828 Radio Pilipino Tarlac. Magandang araw mga kabataang Tarlakhenyo! Narito na naman tayo, nagsisikap at nagpupunyagi na maging makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan at makabansa. Kumusta kayo mga ginigilo kong mag-aaral mula sa grade 9? Ang aking pagbati at paghanga sa inyong masidhing pagpupunyagi sa patuloy na pag-aaral sa himpapawid upang matuto sa kabila ng hamon ng pagkakataon, ang COVID-19 pandemic. Ako ang inyong guro sa Araling Panlipunan Grade 9 para sa araw na ito, Binibining Regel and Pijaos, magtuturo sa inyo via live broadcasting mula dito sa bayan ng Kapas Tarlac. Sasamahan at gagabayan kayong maunawaan ang ating aralin para sa araw na ito. Ngunit, bago pa man tayo magsimula sa ating talakayan, ay naritong muli ang iilan sa mga paalala. Siguraduhin ninyo na nasa lugar kayo ngayon na komportable at maayos na napapanood at napapakinggan ang ating broadcast. Uulitin ko lamang, siguraduhin nasa lugar kayo ngayon na komportable at maayos na napapanood at napakikinggan ang ating broadcast. Matanong ko lang, nagmerienda ka na ba? Mabuti naman dahil nararapat lamang na may laman ang inyong tiyan upang mas maging alerto ang inyong pag-iisip at maayos na maunawaan ang ating aralin sa araw na ito. Sa puntong ito, nais kong kunin ninyo ang inyong module sa Araling Panlipunan para sa ika-6 na linggo ng ikalawang markahan. Ito ay ang Module 4 na may pamagat na Istruktura ng Pamilihan. Uulitin ko, ang Module 4 na may pamagat na Istruktura ng Pamilihan. Ihanda na rin ang inyong ballpen at sulatang papel upang mailista o maitala ninyo ang mga mahahalagang impormasyon na aking mababanggit. Ang ating paksang aralin ay patungkol sa mga istruktura ng pamilihan. Uulitin ko, ang ating paksang aralin ay patungkol sa mga istruktura ng pamilihan. Bago tayo magsimula sa ating paksa ngayong araw, ay alalahanin muna natin ang naging aralin noong nakaraang episode. Natatandaan pa ba ninyo? Magaling! Noong nakaraang episode ay ating tinalakay ang konsepto ng pamilihan bilang isang mahalagang bahagi sa buhay ng consumer at producer. Ito ay nagsisilbing lugar kung saan nakakamit ng isang consumer ang sagot sa marami niyang pangangailangan at kagustuhan sa pamamagitan ng mga produkto at serbisyong handa at kaya niyang ikonsumo. Sa kabilang dako, ang mga producer naman ang siyang nagsisilbing tagapagtustos ng mga produkto at serbisyo upang ikonsumo ng mga tao. Ang consumer at producer din ang siyang tinuturing na pangunahing mga aktor o tauhan sa pamilihan na siyang nagpapalitan ng mga produkto at serbisyo. Presyo ang siyang nagiging instrumento upang maging ganap ang palitan ng consumer at producer. Tinawag din itong invisible hand ni Adam Smith na siyang tumatayong halaga ng produkto sa pera. Ang pamilihan, tandaan, ay maaaring maging lokal, panrehiyon, pambansa, at pandaigdigan ang saklaw. Sa kasalukuyan, nagiging patok sa ating mga consumer at producer ang pakikipagpalitan ng produkto at serbisyo sa pamamagitan ng internet na tinatawag nating online selling at online buying. Laging tandaan na sa pamilihan natutugunan ang demand ng consumer sa pamamagitan ng pag-supply nito ng mga producer. At ngayon, sa palagay ko ay handa ka na sa panibagong paksa para sa araw na ito. Inaasahan na sa pagtatapos ng aralin na ito ay inyong masusuri ang dalawang pangunahing istruktura ng pamilihan. Sa lahat po ng mga magulang at mag-aaral, sa ikasyam na baitang, na nakikinig at nanonood sa ating broadcast, kung kayo po ay may mga katanungan o nais linawin ukol sa ating paksa ngayong araw, maaari po kayong magbigay ng mensahe sa aking messenger. I-type lamang po ang facebook.com/rehelia.ana o di kaya na may tumawag o mag-text sa numerong 0977-425-0552. Uulitin ko po, 0977-425-0552. Sa puntong ito, tayo ay magsisimula na. Kung titignan sa ating kasaysayan, nagsimula ang konsepto ng pamilihan bilang isang lugar lamang kung saan nagpapalitan ang mga magkakalapit lugar ng mga labis na produkto na kanilang nakukuha sa kanilang pangangaso at pangingisda. Kalaunan ay mas naging sistematiko ang gawain ito at tinawag na pamilihan o palengke. Tulad ng ating naging paksa sa nakaraan nating episode, ang pamilihan sa kasalukuyan ay isang lugar kung saan nagaganap ang interaksyon sa pagitan ng consumer at producer, na siyang mga pangunahing mga aktor sa pamilihan, upang magpalitan ng produkto o serbisyo sa isang takdang presyo o halaga. Ang pamilihan ay nagtataglay ng iba't ibang katangian at yan ang magiging paksa natin ngayong araw. Ito ay mayroong dalawang pangunahing istruktura. Ang istruktura ng pamilihan na ito ay tumutukoy sa balangkas na umiiral sa sistema ng merkado kung saan ipinapakita ang ugnayan ng consumer at producer. Ang dalawang balangkas na ito ay ang una, pamilihan na may ganap na kompetisyon o ang perfectly competitive market. At ang ikalawa naman ay ang pamilihang may di ganap ang kompetisyon o imperfectly competitive market. Ang mga ito ay theoretical na balangkas ng pamilihan. Ito ay maaaring iuri batay sa mga sumusunod. Una, gaano karami ang consumer at tindera? Ikalawa, sino ang nagtatakda ng presyo? Ikatlo, ano ang uri ng mga produkto? At ikaapat, kalayaan sa pagpasok sa pamilihan. Samantala, ang dami at lawak ng kontrol ng market players o ang mga consumer at producer sa pamilihan ay ang salik na nagtatakda ng istruktura nito. Una nating talakayin ang pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon o ang perfectly competitive market. Ito ang istruktura ng pamilihan na kinikilala bilang modelo o ideal. Ito ay kalimitang nagtataglay ng mga pangunahing katangian na walang sino man sa producer at consumer ang maaaring makakontrol sa takbo ng pamilihan, partikular na pagdating sa presyo. Ito ay nangangahulugang hindi kayang idikta ng isang producer at consumer ng mag-isa ang presyo. Tandaan, ang pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon ay siyang kinikilala bilang modelo o ideal. Sa panig ng producer, hindi nila ito kayang kontrolin sapagkat maraming nagtitinda ng magkaparehong uri ng produkto at serbisyo sa pamilihan. At dahil dito, ang mga consumer ay may pamimilian kung saan at kanino bibili ng isang partikular na produkto o serbisyo. Ito ay nangangahulugan ng balangkas na lubhang napakaliit ng producer kumpara sa kabuuang bilang ng mga producer sa pamilihan. At ito ay madalas nating naoobserba sa mga palengke. Hindi lang naman isang tindera o tindero ang nagtitinda ng mga gulay, prutas at mga isda. Sa panig naman ng mga consumer, walang sino man ang may kakayahang idikta ang presyo dahil lubha rin silang napakaliit kumpara sa buong bilang ng maaaring bumili ng produkto o serbisyo. At dahil dito, ang lahat ng producer at consumer ay mapipilitang magbenta at bumili ng produkto at serbisyo sa itinakdang presyo sa ekwilibryo ng pamilihan. Ang sitwasyong ito ay ipinaliliwanag ng konsepto ng price taker na kung saan ang producer at consumer ay umaayon lamang sa kung ano ang takbo ng presyo sa pamilihan at walang kapasidad na magtakda ng sarili nilang presyo. Ayon naman sa aklat na economics ni Paul Krugman at Robin Wells, ang pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon ay may sumusunod na katangian. Una, maraming maliliit na consumer at producer. Sa kadahilanang napakarami ng nagtitinda at maliit lamang ang negosyo sa ganitong uri ng pamilihan. Walang kakayahan ng producer na kontrolin ang presyo ng mga produkto sapagkat ang kaunting pagtaas ng presyo sa tindahan A ay maaaring magdulot ng paglipat ng mamimili sa tindahan B na mayroong mas mababang presyo. Kaya naman, ang producer ay sumusunod lamang sa presyo na umiiral sa pamilihan. Mailalarawan din ang produkto sa ganitong uri ng istruktura ng pamilihan bilang homogeneous o magkakatulad. Uulitin ko, ang mga produkto sa ganitong istruktura ng pamilihan, ang kanilang mga produkto ay magkakatulad o magkakapareho. Mapapansing identical ang mga produkto, kaya naman nawawalan ng saysay ang pag-aanunsyo o paggamit ng mga advertisement sapagkat wala mang pag-aanunsyo o pag-a-advertise na nagaganap ay nakasisiguro na ang mga produkto na ito ay bibilhin pa rin ng consumer. Isang halimbawa rito ay ang palengke kung saan nagtitinda ang bawat producer ng magkakatulad na produkto. Halimbawa, ang mga saging o kung ano mang prutas, gulay, no, na ibinebenta ni tindera A ay walang pinagkaiba sa saging, prutas, gulay, no, na itinitinda ni tindera B. Okay? Hindi rin ginagawang pasehan ng mga mamimili ang pinanggagalingan ng mga produktong ito, no? So, walang pakialam ang mga consumers o mga bumibili kung saan ito nanggaling. Sapagkat sino man ang nagtanim at umani ng mga ito, patuloy pa rin nilang itong bibilhin. Yan. Susunod na katangian ay ang malaya ang paggalaw ng sangkap ng produksyon at maraming mapagkukunan ng mga sangkap para makabuo muli ng panibagong produkto. Bunga nito maraming produkto ang magkakatulad na maaaring ipagbili sa pamilihan. Ang ikaapat na katangian ay ang malayang pagpasok at paglabas ninuman sa industriya. Ang pamilihan, particular na ang sistema ng pagnenegosyo o ang business, ay bukas sa lahat ng may kapasidad na maibabahagi. Tandaan ha, walang kakayahan at walang karapatan ang mga dating producer na sila ay hadlangan o pagbawalan sa pagpasok sa pamilihan. Ito ay nakatutulong upang paigtingin ang kompetisyon sa pamilihan na nagdudulot para siguraduhin ng mga producer na ang kanilang produkto ay may mataas na kalidad at tamang presyo lamang upang tangkilikin ng mga consumer. Ang ikalimang katangian naman ay ang pagiging malaya, ang impormasyon ukol sa pamilihan. Dahil sa ang sistema ay malaya, ang pagdaloy ng impormasyon lalo na sa pagtatakda ng presyo at dami ay bukas para sa kaalaman ng lahat. Malayang makagagawa at makapagbebenta ang isang producer sa pamilihan. Gayun din, ang mga consumer ay malaya kung bibili o hindi bibili ng mga produkto at serbisyo sa pamilihan. Bago tayo dumako sa ikalawang istruktura ng pamilihan ay ating banggitin muli ang mga katangian ng pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon. Una, maraming maliit na consumer at producer. Ikalawa, ang mga produkto ay homogeneous o magkakatulad. Ikatlo, malaya ang paggalaw ng sangkap ng produksyon para makabuo o makagawa ng panibagong produkto. Ikaapat, malaya ang sinuman sa pagpasok at paglabas sa industriya, lalo na sa pagnenegosyo. At ang panglima, ang pagdaloy ng impormasyon ay bukas para sa lahat. Ikalawang istruktura ng pamilihan ay ang pamilihang may hindi ganap na kompetisyon o imperfectly competitive market, na kung saan wala ang anumang kondisyon o katangian na matatagpuan sa pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon. Ang mga katangian na tinataglay ng di ganap na kompetisyon ay kabaligtaran lamang ng mga katangian ng pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon. Sa istrukturang ito ay mayroong kumokontrol sa presyo ng mga bilihin, hindi katulad ng pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon. Hindi malaya ang paglabas at pagpasok ng mga negosyante. At nabibilang lamang ang dami ng consumer at producer at limitado lamang ang mga pagpipiliang produkto. Bago natin tapusin ang ating talakayan, narito ang buod ng ating naging talakayan. Ang pamilihan ay napakaraming katangian at ito ay mayroong dalawang istruktura. Ang pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon at pamilihang may di ganap na kompetisyon. Makikita dito sa naka-flash sa inyong screen ang pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Pagdating sa dami ng consumer at mga producer, sa ganap na kompetisyon, marami, at sa di ganap, iilan lamang. Pagdating naman sa pagtatakda ng presyo, sa ganap na kompetisyon, walang nagdidikta. Sa di ganap na kompetisyon, mayroong nagdidikta. Pagdating naman sa uri ng mga produkto, magkakatulad ang mga produkto sa pamilihang may ganap na kompetisyon at pagdating naman sa pamilihang may di ganap na kompetisyon ay limitado lamang. Pagdating naman sa kalayaan sa pagpasok sa pamilihan, sa may ganap na kompetisyon, lahat, no? Kahit sino maaaring pumasok at lumabas, ngunit sa may di ganap na kompetisyon ay limitado lamang. Sa ating susunod na talakayan, ay ating susuriin ang anyo ng pamilihang may di ganap na kompetisyon. Ngunit bago iyon, sagutin niyo muna ang data retrieval chart sa pahina 13 ng inyong SLM sa AP9. Ang pamagat ng gawain na ito ay alisto sa pagbabasa. Ilagay ito sa inyong sagutang papel. Maaari ninyong kunan ng larawan gamit ang inyong cellphone ang inyong sinagutang gawain at isumiti ito sa Facebook Messenger ng inyong guro sa Araling Panlipunan. Para naman sa mga walang access sa internet, maaaring ipasa ang inyong sinagutang gawain sa inyong barangay hall sa itatakdang schedule na pagsauli at pagkuha ng module. Isang paalala lamang, ang inyong mga magulang o guardian ang siyang magtutungo sa barangay hall para gawin ito. At sila rin ay inaasahang sumunod sa ating mga health protocols gaya ng pagsusuot ng face mask, paghuhugas ng kamay, at pag-obserba sa physical distancing. Muli, ako ang inyong guro sa Araling Panlipunan Grade 9, Binibining Rachel Ann P. Jaos, na nagpapaalalang ang pag-aaral sa Araling Panlipunan ay daan sa pagiging makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa. Hanggang sa muli!
Nais mo bang magpabakuna? Alam mo bang may mga tinatawag na priority eligible groups? Sa bawat priority group, may mga sektor na nakahanay. Kung ikaw ay kabilang dito, wag nang magdalawang isip pa. Halina't magpabakuna na. Simula Hunyo, sisimula na ang pag-roll out ng mga bakuna sa A5 group o ang mga nabibilang sa indigent population. Ito ay ang mga kabilang sa mahihirap na populasyon base sa listahan ng National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction o NHTSPR o iba pang verification mechanisms ng local government units. Kaya kung ikaw ay nabibilang sa grupo na ito, tumawag o makipag-ugnayan sa inyong LGU upang malaman ang mga detalye tungkol sa inyong vaccination program katulad ng petsa, oras at lugar kung saan ka magpapabakuna. Humingi ng medical clearance sa inyong doktor kung ikaw ay may autoimmune disease, HIV, cancer, malignancy, dumaan sa organ transplant, kasalukuyang dumadaan sa steroid treatment o nakaratay sa higaan. Huwag kalimutan ang iyong proof of eligibility o mga dokumentong nagpapatunay na ikaw ay kasama sa priority group na ito. Huwag din kalimutang dalhin ang iyong government ID, pati na ang face mask, face shield, sanitizer at ballpen bago ang iyong vaccination. At paalala, pagkatapos ng pagbabakuna, huwag mag-atubiling magtanong na makaragdagang impormasyon tungkol sa bakuna na ginamit sa iyo. Hingin at itago ang contact information ng personnel na tatawagan kung sakaling ikaw ay makaramdam ng seryosong side effects. Huwag ring kalimutan ang vaccination card at alamin ang petsa ng iyong second dose ng pagbabakuna. Higit sa lahat, ugaliin pa ring sundin ang minimum public health standards tulad ng wastong paghuhugas ng kamay, pagpapanatili ng safe physical distancing, at pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Tara na sa Vida Vaccination!
Alam niyo ba na ang kinikilalang Guinness Book of World Records holder bilang pinakamaliit na commercially harvested fish ay isang sinarapan? Ito ay matatagpuan lamang sa Pilipinas, sa Lake Buhi sa Bicol River. Isa itong uri ng goby na may transparent na katawan na may sukat na 12.5 mm. Alam mo na, yan ang sinarapan.
How are you today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, learners of Tarlac.
Good morning, Math Talino Grade 4 learners.
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo
Here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Simulcast over DCTC
Radio Filipino Tarlac.
I'm Sir Glenn, your teacher broadcaster.
Broadcasting live here at Paniki Tarlac. Remotely here in Concepcion, Tarlac.
Live here at Barangay Pedro Elquines, Mayantok, Tarlac.
Broadcasting live from Ramos National High School.
Your anchor teacher today for grade 9 mathematics.
your partner in education this time of pandemic.
of Tarlac. Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26. Simulcast over DCTC Radio Filipino Tarlac. Today's subject is TLE9, particularly agri-crop production, and I'm teacher Giselle Tuan, your guide for today. Before we start our new lesson, please make sure you are in a quiet and comfortable spot so that you can hear my voice clearly. Also, you have your compendium of notes for this week and WHLP or weekly home learning plan, as well as your pen and notebook so that you may take down notes to remember as we go along with the lesson. Are you ready now? Great! Be sure you are in a good learning environment so that you can listen to the topic very well. First, let us have brief discussion of our past lesson. Do you still remember our topic last meeting? Okay, very good. Last time we discussed about the methods of planting crops in the farm. Can you identify the first method of planting crops in the farm? Very good. We have two methods, and the first one is the direct seeding or direct sowing. It is a method of planting in which seeds are directly planted on the ground in the farm or any growing surface. Now, how about the last method of planting crops in the farm? Great job! All of your answers are correct. Lastly, we have transplanting, which make use of pre-grown plants and seedlings or vegetatively propagated clones. The term transplanting is also used to refer to the practice of replanting an already established in one location or moving it elsewhere. I'm glad that you still remember our previous lesson. Are you all ready now for our new lesson? Let's begin. Open your compendium of notes in Agri-Crop Production 9 on page 21. We will focus our discussion on the different designs of irrigation system. But before that, let us discuss first what is irrigation. When we say irrigation, it means it is the application of controlled amounts of water to plants at needed intervals. Also, it is an artificial application of water to the land to increase crop yield. And lastly, it is necessary in arid areas during a period of inadequate rainfall. Now let's proceed to the different functions of irrigation system. Is it very important to know the different functions of irrigation system? Do you have an idea why do we need to irrigate the farm? You got it right. Here are the functions why do we need to irrigate the farm. For the primary functions of farm irrigation system, it is used to supply crops with irrigation water in quantities at the time it is needed. Also, for the specific functions, we have number 1, diverting water from the water source. Number 2, conveying it into the individual fields within the farm. Number 3, distributing it within each field. And number 4, providing a means for measuring and regulating flows. As we all know that irrigation, it is a very important in growing crops in farm, wherein we need to carefully plan system that we will use. And this plan will enable the farmer to lay out the irrigation system in most cost-effective way. Also, it provides a step-by-step information on essential features of irrigation. Now, what are the two systems of irrigation? Can you name them? Alright, you have all the idea. The two systems of irrigation are number 1, the gravity. It is a system of irrigation that requires a dam to direct the water to a stream. And number 2, pumping. It is a system of irrigation wherein it uses pump to draw water either from a nearby stream or a groundwater supply. Now let us tackle why do we need an irrigation plan? Do you have an idea? Very good. There are 4 reasons why do we need an irrigation plan. Number 1, to generate material list and to evaluate the anticipated project cost. Number 2, the plan provides a step-by-step information on system installation. Number 3, specification. Design standards and work schedules as set out on a plan form the basis of any contractual agreements between the installation and contractor and the farmer. And lastly, number 4, the plan provides a record for future references. Let's proceed to the lesson proper, which is the different designs of irrigation. Do you know the different designs of irrigation system? You got it right. We have 3 main irrigation systems. These are the surface irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, and drip irrigation. Now, let us identify the first method of irrigation system. We have the surface irrigation, wherein water is applied to the field in either controlled or uncontrolled manner. Also, it is either the entire field is flooded or basin irrigation, or water is fed into small channels or furrow or strip of lands borders. And under surface irrigation, we have the basin irrigation system. Basins are flat land areas surrounded by low bands. Also, basin irrigation, it is commonly used for rice grown on flat lands. And lastly, in general, the basin method is suitable for crops that are unaffected by standing in water for longer periods. These are the examples of basin irrigation. Also, under basin irrigation, we have the suitable crops. These are the rice crop and the crops which are broadcast, such as cereals. And always remember that basin irrigation, it is generally suited to crops which cannot stand in wet or waterlogged condition for longer periods than 24 hours. Another irrigation under surface irrigation is the furrow irrigation, which furrows are small channels which carry water down slope between the row crops. Also, the water infiltrates into the soil as it moves along the slope, and this method is suitable for row crops and for crops that cannot stand in water for long periods. These are the example of furrow irrigation. Now, what do you think the two types of furrow irrigation? The first type of furrow irrigation is the irrigation by cutting the ridge, and this is the example of furrow irrigation by cutting the ridge. Another type of irrigation is the furrow irrigation with siphons, and this is the example of furrow irrigation with siphons. And under furrow irrigation, we have the different suitable crops. Row crops such as maize, sunflower, sugarcane, soybean, also the crops that would be damaged by inundation such as tomatoes, vegetables, potatoes, beans, and lastly, fruit trees such as citrus and grapes. Lastly, under surface irrigation, we have the border irrigation, wherein the borders are long, sloping strips of the land separated by bands. They are sometimes called border strips. Also, irrigation can be fed into borders several ways: opening channel bank, using small outlets or gates by means of siphons or spiles. And these are the samples of border irrigation. Okay, are you still with me? Now let's move to the second method of irrigation, which is the sprinkler irrigation. Sprinkler irrigation, it is similar to natural rainfall. Water is pumped through a pipe system and then sprayed onto crops on the rotating sprinkle heads. Also, the pump supply sprinkler's operating condition must be designed to enable uniform application of water. These are the examples of sprinkler irrigation. Now, do you have an idea what are the types of conventional sprinkler system? Great! There are three types of conventional sprinkler system. We have the fully portable system, wherein the system is designed to be moved from one field to another or other pumping sites that are in the same field. Second, we have the semi-portable system. Water source and pumping plant are fixed in one location and components can be moved. And lastly, we have the fully permanent system. Permanent laterals, mains, sub-mains, as well as fixed, are fixed in pumping plant. Remember that in sprinklers irrigation system, there are suitable crops that we must know. These are the following. We have the soybean, onion, potato, cabbage, cotton, and garlic. Lastly, for the methods of irrigation design, we have the drip irrigation, which is sometimes called trickle irrigation. It involves dripping of water onto the soil at a very low rates from a system of small diameter plastic pipes, fitted outlets called emitters and drippers. Water is applied close to plants so that only part of the soil in which roots grow wetted. Under drip irrigation, there are suitable crops, wherein drip irrigation, it is the most suitable for row crops, such as vegetables and soft fruit. Tree and vine crops, where one or more emitters can be provided for each plant. Generally, on high-value crops are considered because high capital cost of installing a drip system. And these are the example of drip irrigation. Did you get it? Great! Okay, my dear students, are you still with me? So let us have a recap of our topic for today. Can you define what is irrigation? Yes, great job! Irrigation, it is the application of controlled amounts of water to plants at needed intervals. Also, it is an artificial application of water to the land to increase the crop yield, necessary in arid areas or during period of inadequate rainfall. Now, can you differentiate the three methods of irrigation system? You've got it right. There are three main methods of irrigation system. First, we have the surface irrigation system. It is the application of water by gravity flow to the surface of the field. We have the sprinkler irrigation system. It is similar to natural rainfall. Water is pumped through a pipe system, then sprayed onto the crops through rotating sprinkler heads. And lastly, we have the drip irrigation. It is sometimes called trickle irrigation. and it involves dripping of water onto the soil at a very low rates from a system or small diameter plastic pipes called outlets or emitters. We also discussed the three main types of conventional sprinkler irrigation system. Now, can you identify the three types of conventional sprinkler system? Very good. Let us discuss the three types of conventional sprinkler system. The three types of conventional sprinkler system are the following. We have letter A, fully portable system. The system is designed to be moved from one place to another or other pumping sites that are in the same field. Letter B, we have the semi-portable system. Water source and pumping plant are fixed in one location and other components can be moved. And letter C, we have the fully permanent system. Permanent laterals, mains, sub-mains, as well as fixed pumping plant. Hopefully, you have learned something new from our topic for today. If you have any questions about our topic for today, please feel free to ask. Now, let us see how much you have learned from our topic for today by answering the following. Kindly get a piece of paper and a pen. This is a multiple choice quiz wherein you need to choose the letter of correct answer. It only consists of 5 items and write the correct answer. I will read the question twice. Are you all ready? For number 1, what do you call the system that is designed to be moved from one place to another or other pumping sites that are in the same field? Letter A, semi-portable system. Letter B, fully portable system. Letter C, surface irrigation. Again, what do you call the system of it that is designed to be moved from one place to another or other pumping sites that is in the same field? Letter A, semi-portable. Letter B, fully portable. And letter C, surface irrigation. For number 2 question, it is the application of water by gravity flow to the surface of the field. Letter A, semi-portable system. Letter B, fully portable system. Letter C, surface irrigation. Again, what do you call the application of water by gravity flow to the surface of the field? Letter A, semi-portable system. Letter B, fully portable system. And letter C, surface irrigation. For number 3, these are small-scale schemes and constructed with the participation of farmer beneficiaries. Letter A, semi-portable system. Letter B, communal irrigation system. And letter C, surface irrigation. Again, these are small-scale schemes and constructed with the participation of farmer beneficiaries. A, semi-portable. Letter B, communal irrigation system. Letter C, surface irrigation. For number 4, it is sometimes called trickle irrigation, and it involves dripping of water onto the soil at a very low rates from a system small diameter plastic pipes fitted with outlets called emitters and drippers. Letter A, drip irrigation. Letter B, communal irrigation system. Letter C, surface irrigation. Again, it is sometimes called trickle irrigation, and it involves dripping of water onto the soil at a very low rates from a system small diameter plastic pipes fitted with outlets called emitters and drippers. Letter A, drip irrigation. Letter B, communal irrigation. Letter C, surface irrigation. And lastly, number 5, it is similar to natural rainfall, wherein water is pumped through a pipe system then sprayed onto the crops through rotating sprinkle heads. Letter A, semi-portable system. Letter B, communal irrigation system. Letter C, drip irrigation system. Again, it is similar to natural rainfall, wherein water is pumped through a pipe system and then sprayed onto crops through rotating sprinkle heads. A. Semi-portable. B. Communal irrigation system. And letter C. Drip irrigation system. Now let us check the correct answers. And here are the answers. For number 1, letter B, fully portable system. Number 2, letter C, surface irrigation system. Number 3, letter B, communal irrigation system. Number 4, letter A, drip irrigation system. And number 5, sprinkler irrigation system. Okay, count the correct number of correct items. For those who got a perfect score, congratulations and you did a great job. For those who got 4 and to 3, very good. And for those who got 2 and below, still okay and don't lose hope and keep trying. Now, that was a great learning experience with you. Hopefully, you enjoy our lesson for today. Thank you for listening. I will be glad to be with you again on our next episode and another exciting topic. I would like to end by saying success is no accident. It is a hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. And let us all remember, in TLE we have skills, knowledge, and progress. Once again, this is Teacher Giselle Tua of Anastasio G. Yumul High School saying thank you and God bless us all.
Ang Moderna vaccine ay ginawa sa United States, mainly funded by the National Health Institute sa US, sa grupo nila ni Anthony Fauci. Kaya in terms of reputation, maganda talaga ang bakuna na to at talagang inaasahan natin na isa siya sa mga bakuna na mas matagal at durable ang protection sa atin.
Matapos ang Pfizer vaccine, ating kilalanin ang ikalawang COVID-19 vaccine na mula sa Estados Unidos, ang Moderna. Pero paalala lang ha, sabi ng mga eksperto, ligtas at epektibo ang anumang bakuna na may EUA mula sa FDA.
So sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, sa pandemic, mataas pa rin ang transmission at mataas ang kaso. With that in mind, mataas pa rin ang hawaan at pangalawang reason nito is limited ang supply ng bakuna. Kung hihintayin natin at meron tayong tinatawag na brand preference, mas maging delikado sa atin yan.
Saan nga ba gawa ang Moderna vaccine?
Ang Moderna vaccine ay isang bagong platform ng mga bakuna na ginagamit natin ngayon. Kagaya ng Pfizer na ginamitan ito ng genetic material ng virus using the mRNA. So itong mRNA, nagsisend siya ng signal pag ibabakuna doon sa tao to stimulate para mag-produce tayo ng antibody against the COVID virus. Ito isang bakuna na so far sa mga bakunang ginagawa ngayon against COVID na masasabi natin bagong teknolohiya pero isa sa mga safe and highly effective vaccine kagaya rin ng Pfizer vaccine. So sa indikasyon sa bakunang ito ng Moderna, ang makatanggap lang ay edad 18 pataas. Ang pagbibigay dito ay yung unang dose, katapos yung pangalawang dose after 4th week. So 28 days ang pagitan.
Kagaya ng ibang COVID-19 vaccines, ang Moderna ay merong temperaturang sinusunod upang mapanatili ang kalidad ng bakuna.
Okay, so ang bakunang ito, yung sa storage, yung hindi pa siya gagamitin, dapat nandun siya sa -60 to -80. Pero pag tatanggalin na siya doon sa storage tapos dadalhin doon sa vaccination site, pwede siyang ilalagay sa room air, room temperature, pero dapat hindi lalampas ng 5 oras na dapat ibibigay siya. Yung sa ice box naman, ma-maintain mo lang yung temperature na yun. Ano yun -4 yun. Ma-maintain mo lang yun, mga 5 to 7 days yan. So medyo mataas-taas pa naman.
Base sa personal na karanasan, napatunayan ni Philippine Ambassador to the US, Jose Manuel Romualdez, na ligtas at epektibo ang Moderna.
Well, I'm one of those that received was vaccinated as early as January of this year because we were attending the inauguration of President Biden, and I was fully vaccinated after 1 month. And it's the best thing that could ever happen to you. You feel liberated. And so Moderna and Pfizer have been proven to be really very effective. It's well worth it because you will feel safer. If there's a little side effect, that's just a little discomfort, but nothing like being safe from being seriously ill or even dying.
Isa-isahin natin ang efficacy rate ng Moderna vaccine.
Okay, so yung efficacy ay ito yung paraan na ma-evaluate natin na yung ginagawa itong trial, inobserbahan nila yung nakatanggap ng bakuna at yung hindi nakatanggap ng bakuna. At nakita doon sa clinical trial na yung mga nakatanggap ng bakuna kumpara doon sa mga hindi nakatanggap ng bakuna, mas maraming nagka-COVID doon sa hindi nakatanggap ng bakuna. So doon sa clinical trial, interim data, nakitaan na ang Moderna vaccine is effective sa pag-protect us from symptomatic COVID, mild to moderate, 94%. So mataas siya na protection. Doon naman sa mga severe form, 100% ang protection niya. Doon naman sa mga may edad na, kagaya ng 65 years old and above, it ranges from 80 up to 90%. So isa siya sa mga bakuna na maski may edad tayo, kampante tayo na mataas ang protection natin, kagaya din ng mga ibang bakuna na Pfizer at saka AstraZeneca. Tapos across all ages, ethnicity, race, at saka mga comorbidities, nagtala siya ng 85% efficacy rate.
Nilinaw din ni Ambassador Romualdez ang mga issue kung bakit tila kakaunti ang supply ng bakuna sa mga maliliit na bansa gaya ng Pilipinas.
Many countries, I know that there is an accusation that all the rich countries were able to sort of like hoard all of these vaccines. Well, I guess I wouldn't really call it hoarding, but I guess they were all trying to sort of like making it easier for them to be able to get these vaccines immediately to their citizens. And of course, the United States, being the leading manufacturer or developer of these vaccines, President Biden set out a goal. They're about 3 to 4% short of the 70%, which is supposed to be the herd immunity in getting people vaccinated to be able to make it safe, so to speak. That is the goal of the world, actually. And the COVAX facility is supposed to help in giving us that kind of herd immunity. And now, since many countries that have been able to get access to these vaccines immediately are now spreading it out. And we're hoping that the speed up of these vaccines being made available to all the countries, especially in our region, in the Asian region, will be coming in more.
Patuloy din ang pag-aaral ng mga eksperto tungkol sa booster shot o yung tinatawag na reformulated Moderna vaccine.
Yes, meron na silang tinatawag na third dose of Moderna na ongoing yung phase 2 trial nila ngayon. Ang tawag nito is reformulated Moderna vaccine that contains the variant 351. So, ito yung plano nila na after receiving the 2 doses, meron silang isasabay na third dose as booster para lang tumataas ang antibody natin, including against variants of concern.
We need to sort of like have a booster shot because some of the vaccines that were already given or vaccinated with the other people, inoculated to people, may need these booster shots. So that's why we're really ordering more than what we maybe as of now we may not need it, but at the end of the year and early next year we will be needing all these vaccines.
Dahil sa pagtutulungan ng pamahalaan at iba pang sektor, asahan ang karagdagang supply ng Moderna vaccine sa ating bansa.
Well, the vaccines coming from Moderna will be, we have ordered 20 million of this, 7 million of which will go to the private sector and 13 million to the public sector. So the 20 million, we are targeting that it'll be delivered to the Philippines before the end of this year. The total number of vaccines that we're hoping to get, including Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, will probably be anywhere between 70 to 80 million doses.
O ayan ha, marami ng supply ng bakuna. Ano pang hinihintay mo? May vaccination schedule ka na ba? Palagi po nating pakatandaan, sa bawat turok ng bakuna, di lang ikaw ang protektado, kundi maging ang iyong pamilya at komunidad.
Ano man yung bakunang ibibigay sa iyo, ito ay subok, ito ay safe, ito ay effective, aprobado to ng Philippine FDA natin, at nakita natin na lahat ng bakuna ngayon ay will prevent severe and critical stage ng COVID.
There is no doubt that the COVID-19 vaccines are the most effective way to fight the virus. This has been proven here in the United States, as we all know, and that's the reason why we worked closely with Secretary Carlitos Galvez in bringing in the Moderna vaccines. So we're urging everyone to take the vaccines, whatever the vaccines available. The kind of freedom that we've been used to, being able to move around, will come back to us as soon as everyone is vaccinated.
How are you today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, learners of Tarlac.
Good morning, Math Talino Grade 4 learners!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo
Here on RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Simulcast over DCTC
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
I'm Sir Glenn, your teacher broadcaster.
Broadcasting live here at Paniki, Tarlac. Remotely here in Concepcion, Tarlac.
Live here at Barangay Pedro Elquines, Mayantok, Tarlac.
Broadcasting live from Ramos National High School.
Your anchor teacher today for grade 9 mathematics.
your partner in education this time of pandemic.
Naimbag na Aral Tarlac. Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26. Simulcast over DCTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac. Naimbag na Aral Tarlac. Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26. Simulcast over DCTC 828 Radyo Pilipino Tarlac via remote live broadcast from Moncada, Tarlac.
I am Norman Valentino, your teacher broadcaster for Health Grade 9. Join me as we learn together in this 25 minutes of meaningful discussion. Before we start, I just want to make some important reminders before listening to our broadcast. When listening, make sure that you have a copy of your module, compendium of notes, class or learning activity sheet to better understand our lesson for today. An important reminder to all our listeners, especially to our dear students and parents, please feel free and comfortable to ask questions during and after this broadcast. You can post your questions, clarifications, and queries via the live stream of Aral TarlakHenyo here on RTV Tarlac, Channel 26. Post a message on our Class GC or through SMS. You can message me directly, your teacher broadcaster, on my number 0968 4644 113. I'll try my best to answer all your questions, queries, and clarification before our broadcast ends. Welcome to Quarter 2 Learning Module in Health Grade 9, which is all about prevention of substance use and abuse. Our objective for today's lesson, number 1, describe the drug scenario in the Philippines. Number 2, discuss risk and protective factors in substance use and abuse. Number 3, analyzes situations for the use and non-use of psychoactive substances. Grade 9 learners, before we proceed to our lesson, let's have first our pretest. Okay, are you ready? This is a true or false. Write true. Teenagers who engage in drug use and abuse are prone to drop out and fail in their academic performance. True or false? The answer is true. Question number 3. Taking small amounts of drugs of abuse will not make a person an addict in the long run. True or false? The answer is false. Number 4. There are healthy and enjoyable things to do than taking drugs. True or false? The answer is true. Number 5. Marijuana and inhalants are the most commonly abused drugs in the state. True or false? The answer is true. Now, let us move to the drug scenario in the Philippines. You will be given information about the study conducted by the DDB or Dangerous Drugs Board. DDB is the lead government agency which plans, publishes, and initiates programs and projects necessary to combat and reduce the illegal distribution, manufacture, and sale of drugs of abuse. You will also be introduced to basic terms used in the study of substance use and abuse. In the year 2004, an estimate of 6.7 million drug users in the Philippines was recorded by the Dangerous Drug Board or DDB. The 2008 National Household Survey on the nature and extent of drug abuse in the Philippines, conducted by the same agency, revealed that there is a downward trend in the number of drug users, down to 1.7 million users. The decline may be associated with the government's intense efforts in combating drugs. The following are the reasons for the successful decline of drug abuse in the country. Number one, operations conducted by different law enforcement agencies like the Philippine National Police, National Bureau of Investigation, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, Bureau of Customs, and other law enforcers have helped arrest local and international drug syndicate members, traffickers, and destroy secret laboratories and warehouses. Number two, strict implementation of policies under the Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, like the compulsory drug test for application of driver's license, entrance to military service, application for firearms licensing, and others. Number three, actualization of the Dangerous Drugs Board's programs and projects in partnership with other agencies like Department of Education, are positive efforts bearing fruits and achievements. However, the government does not rest on its laurels, but rather creates more productive programs and projects to make the country a drug-resistant society. Now, let us discuss the common concepts in drug education. What is drugs? Drugs are any substances or chemicals which, when taken into the body, either through nasal, oral, transdermal, or intravenous way, have psychological, emotional, and behavioral effects on a person. Drug of abuse are drugs commonly abused by users. In the Philippines, the three drugs of abuse are shabu, marijuana, and inhalants. Drug dependence is a cluster of physiological, behavioral, and cognitive phenomena dependence is a cluster of physiological, behavioral, and cognitive phenomena of variable intensity in which the use of a drug takes on a high priority, thereby creating a strong desire to take the substance. Drug misuse is the use of a substance incoherent or inconsistent with the prescribed dosage or frequency of use. Drug abuse. It is the use of a substance for non-medicinal purposes. Abuse leads to organ damage like brain damage, addiction, and troubled behavioral patterns. Lastly, drug tolerance. It is the condition of the body to adapt to the effects of substances to the body, thus requiring an even larger amount of the substance to experience the same physiological and mental effect experienced when taking the smaller dosage. Our next lesson focuses on the different risks and protective factors in substance use, abuse, and drug dependence. The misuse, use, and abuse of drugs are the result of various factors surrounding a person. These factors either increase or decrease the possibility of a person to use drugs. Risk factors are those influences which increase the chances of using, misusing, and abusing drugs. Protective factors, on the other hand, are those influences which decrease the chances of using, misusing, and abusing drugs. According to studies, protective factors counterbalance negative effect of risk factors. It is important to understand that it does necessarily mean that several risk factors present make a healthy high susceptible to drug use, misuse, and abuse. Protective factors, even if few in numbers, may be enough to work against the risk factors. More so, if there are several of these protective influences. These factors are composed of influences in different domains of life. These domains of life which affects drug use and abuse are personal, family, peer and friends, school, and community. Now, let's talk about the risk and protective factors in the use, misuse, and abuse of drugs. First domain is personal. Early aggressive behavior versus self-control. Risk factors are the following: use of drugs at an early age, risk-taking behavior, experimentation, poor social skills and interaction, childhood problems, feelings of isolation, while protective factors include self-control behavior, good reasoning skills, excellent social skills, positive interaction with people, and sense of belonging. Second domain is family. Weak parental guidance versus strong parental guidance. Risk factors are history and patterns of drug use, attitudes toward drug use, poor parenting and child rearing, inconsistent family rules, poor family values, and poor family ties. While protective factors are the following: good communication with people, positive family relationship, clear and consistent family rules, strong family values, positive expectation to child success in family, school, and community. Lastly, resilience on family for emotional support. Third domain, peers and friends. Substance abuse versus academic excellence. association with peers and friends known to use gateway drugs such as cigarettes and alcohol, and preference to stay with peers and friends than with family are the risk factors, while association with peers and friends who do not use gateway drugs, formation of friendships, reliance on friends for emotional support, and inviting friends at home to know the family are the protective factors. Fourth domain, school. Availability of drugs versus strong anti-drug policies. Risk factors are poor academic performance, lack of commitment to studies, poor attendance in school, involvement in fights and conflicts. While protective factors are good to excellent academic performance, joins extracurricular activities and school organizations, shows interest in attending classes. And the fifth domain is the community. Poverty versus strong community relationship. And these are the risk factors. Easy access to gateway drugs, poor community organization and neighborhood relationship, poor implementation of community laws, and negative attitude which favor drug use. While protective factors are strong community relationships, active and positive community programs, projects, and activities for the youth, positive attitude which combat drug use, and strong community advocacy against drugs. Can you remember what are the 5 domains in life? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You remember it well. These are the personal, family, peer and friends, school, and community. What are the risk and protective factors? Risk factors are those influences which increase the chances of using, misusing, and abusing drugs, while protective factors decrease the chances of using, misusing, and abusing drugs. Now, let's have an activity. Grade 9 learners, it's quiz time. Get your pen and answer sheet, and let's have activity number 2. Direction: choose the letter of the correct answer and write your answer on your answer sheet. Question number 1. It is the condition of the body to adopt the effects of substances to the body. A, drugs. B, drug dependence. C, drug tolerance. D, drug abuse. The answer is letter C, drug tolerance. Question number 2. Drugs commonly abused by users. A, drug tolerance. B, drugs of abuse. C, drug misuse. D, drugs. Answer is letter B, drugs of abuse. Question number 3. Any substances or chemicals which when taken into body either through nasal, oral, transdermal, or intravenous way have psychological, emotional, and behavioral effects on a person. A, drug tolerance. B, drugs of abuse. C, drug misuse. D, drugs. The answer is letter D, drugs. Question number 4. It is a cluster of physiological, behavioral, and cognitive phenomena of variable intensity in which the use of a drug takes on a high priority, thereby creating a strong desire to take the substance. Your choices are A, drug dependence. B, drug misuse. C, drug abuse. D, drugs of abuse. Answer is letter A, drug abuse. And the last question is, it is the use of a substance for non-medicinal purposes. A, drugs. B. Drug dependence. C. Drug misuse. D. Drug abuse. The answer is letter D. Drug abuse. I know you did great in your short quiz. Congratulations! For the last part, activity 3 of your learning activity sheet, write an essay about the present drug scenario in the Philippines. Include data and information, including common terms you have learned in class and have gathered personally. Also include ways for the government and society to combat drug syndicates and addiction. Dear grade 9 students, if you have questions and clarifications in our lesson, you can send your questions on my messenger or you may ask your MAPE teacher. Once again, don't forget to watch us live on Facebook from 8 a.m. to 5:30 in the afternoon from Monday to Friday for more radio-based lessons based on the most essential learning competencies. Please also take time to like and share our Facebook page, RTV Tarlac Channel 26. I hope you learned a lot today. I hope you had a great time and enjoyed our lesson. Once again, this is Norman R. Tolentino, your health grade 9 anchor teacher. Stay safe and God bless us all. Thank you. Bye.
Nais mo bang magpabakuna? Alam mo bang may mga tinatawag na priority eligible groups? Sa bawat priority group, may mga sektor na nakahanay. Kung ikaw ay kabilang dito, wag nang magdalawang isip pa. Halina't magpabakuna na. Ngayong Hunyo, sisimula na ang pag-rollout ng mga bakuna sa A4 group. Kabilang sa A4, ang essential frontliners tulad ng mga sumusunod. Mga nagtatrabaho sa pribadong sektor na nasa labas ng kanilang mga tahanan. Mga nagtatrabaho sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno, GOCCs at local government units. Mga nagtatrabaho sa mga informal na sektor sa labas ng kanilang mga tahanan. At mga nagtatrabaho sa mga pribadong tahanan. Kaya kung ikaw ay kabilang sa grupong ito, tumawag o makipag-ugnayan sa inyong LGU at sa inyong kumpanya upang malaman ang mga detalye tungkol sa inyong vaccination program, katulad ng petsa, oras at lugar kung saan ka magpapabakuna. Humingi ng medical clearance sa inyong doktor kung ikaw ay may autoimmune disease, HIV, cancer, malignancy, dumaan sa organ transplant, kasalukuyang dumadaan sa steroid treatment o nakaratay sa higaan. Huwag kalimutan ang iyong proof of eligibility o mga dokumentong nagpapatunay na ikaw ay kasama sa priority group na ito. Huwag din kalimutang dalhin ang iyong government ID, pati na ang face mask, face shield, sanitizer at ballpen bago ang iyong vaccination. At paalala, pagkatapos ng pagbabakuna, huwag mag-atubiling magtanong na makaragdagang impormasyon tungkol sa bakuna na ginamit sa iyo. Hingin at itago ang contact information ng personnel na tatawagan kung sakaling ikaw ay makaramdam ng seryosong side effects. Huwag ring kalimutan ang vaccination card at alamin ang petsa ng iyong second dose ng pagbabakuna. Higit sa lahat, ugaliin pa ring sundin ang minimum public health standards tulad ng wastong paghuhugas ng kamay, pagpapanatili ng safe physical distancing at pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Tara na sa Vida Vaccination!
Kumusta mga giliw kong tagapakinig?
Nagbabalik ang inyong paaralang panghimpapawid,
Aral TarlakHenyo,
sa RTV Tarlac, Channel 26,
at sa bayang naririnig sa DZTC 828,
Radyo Pilipino Tarlac.
Tayo rin ay napapanood sa FB Live ng RTV Tarlac Channel 26.
Sumasahimpapawid mula sa bayan ng Pura Tarlac,
mula sa bayan ng San Clemente.
Mula rito, sa Purok Elementary School, Pura Tarlac.
sa bayan ng Kapas Tarlac.
Ako,
ang inyong guro na maghahatid sa inyo ng makabuluhang pagtalakay sa ating aralin.
I am Nurse Kichi, your segment host for today's episode for Health Hour, Urinary Tract Infection, mga karagdagang impormasyon. Good afternoon mga ka-RTV, kumusta na kayo? Kumusta naman ang ating Pasko at bagong taon? Naway ligtas tayong lahat. Ngayon po, pag-uusapan natin ang tungkol sa urinary tract infection na madalas akala natin ay isang simpleng sakit lamang siya. And minsan, pag nararanasan natin na mahirap umihi or nahirapan tayong umihi at may kasabay itong lagnat at sinasabi na natin kaagad na ito ay urinary tract infection or UTI. So ngayong hapon po ay mabibigyan linaw at madadagdagan ang ating kaalaman tungkol sa urinary tract infection. Nais ko na pong ipakilala sa inyo ang ating special guest, ang ating Medical Officer, Dr. Marilyn Manalo.
Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. No? Magandang hapon po sa lahat po ng mga nakikinig sa ating mga aral, kasama sa mga Aral TarlakHenyo. Happy New Year po. No? Kumusta ang inyong New Year, Ma'am Kit?
Masaya, Doc. Hopefully, hindi ako nagka-UTI.
Okay. Marami na tayo mga napag-uusapang mga iba't ibang mga lifestyle diseases. So ngayon magpunta tayo. Gusto kong i-discuss sa inyo yung laging reason bakit laging nag-absent yung mga kasama natin, laging nagpapa-check up sa clinic, itong urinary tract infection. Kailangan mas maliwanagan sila kung anong ibig sabihin ng meron kang UTI.
Okay, Doc. So ano nga po ba ang urinary tract infection or yung UTI?
Usually yung UTI po, yun yung infection na nakikita sa ating urinary system kung saan lumalabas yung ihi ng katawan natin, yung mga waste products ng katawan natin. So i-discuss muna natin, Ma'am Kit, kung ano ba yung mga part ng urinary system natin, no? So meron tayong urethra, no, kung saan lumalabas yung ihi, bladder, yung storage po ng ihi, yung ureter kung saan dumadalo po yung ihi, at saka yung kidneys natin kung saan nagfi-filter po, no? Pinifilter ng katawan natin yung dumi, no, ng ihi, yung mga fluids po natin sa katawan. So yung urinary tract infection yun na yung bacteria na umaakyat po sa system po natin, no, nag-umpisa sa urethra. Usually po sa bladder sila usually doon nagpupunta yung mga bacteria. So namamaga yung tantog po natin, no? Saan ba nakukuha yon? Usually yung bacteria galing sa bituka, no? Lalo na sa rectum. Kapag tumatai tayo, hindi nahugasan ng maayos, pumapasok yung bacteria doon sa urethra natin, doon sa yung maliit na tubo kung saan lumalabas yung ihi natin, umaakyat po siya papunta sa mga parts po ng urinary system po natin, no? So kapag nagkaroon po yan, umakyat po yung bacteria, which is most common yung E. coli po na tinatawag natin, no? Namamaga po yung mga pantog natin, doon po nag-uumpisa yung infection po natin.
So importante po talaga yung proper hygiene, ano, doktora?
Oo, syempre lalo na kapag sa mga babae po, most common po na nagkakaroon sila ng infection po sa ihi. Kasi maliit lang po yung urethra natin, no? Yung daloy ng ihi sa babae na malapit lang siya sa rectum, no? Kaya kapag nagsi-CR tayo, yung mga babae po, sinasabihan natin na kapag naguhugas sila, dapat sa harap papunta sa likod. Hindi likod papunta sa harap, kasi yung bacteria papasok po siya sa taas. Magpe-penetrate siya doon sa mga bladder natin. So magkukos ulit siya ng pamamaga ng pantog po natin.
Okay. So Doc, pag wala tayong mga nararamdamang iba tungkol ay sa ating urinary system, so ibig sabihin healthy po yung ating urinary system, ano?
Oo, kasi dapat yung ihi dapat sterile yan, malinis po. Wala kang makikitang bakterya, Ma'am Kit.
Opo, opo. So ano yung kulay ng healthy na ihi, Doc?
Usually dapat yan yellow, light yellow po siya. White to light yellow po yung kulay ng ihi. Kapag dark yellow po yung ihi or may amoy po, ibig sabihin meron ka ng ongoing infection.
Okay. So, Doktora, ano po ba yung mga, dahil na i-discuss na ninyo kung ano yung simpleng discussion, kung ano yung parts ng ating urinary system, so nabivisualize na ng ating mga ka-RTV, ng ating mga tagapagkinig at tagapanood, kung ano ang ating pinag-uusapan, kung anong parte ng ating katawan. So, ano po ba yung mga posibleng simptomas na pwede nating sabihin na tayo ay mayroong UTI?
Usually, ma'am, ang UTI kasi ano yan dalawa yan, di ba? Lower urinary tract infection at saka yung upper urinary tract infection. Although pareho sila ng simptomas. So gusto ko lang din i-discuss sa kanila kung ano ba yung lower urinary tract infection, kung ano yung sakop na parte ng urinary system. So kapag namaga po yung bladder, urethra po natin, no? Nagkakaroon po tayo ng mga infection po sa bandang baba po ng pag-ihi po natin. So kapag ang bladder, namaga po siya, ang tawag po doon, yung cystitis na tinatawag natin, ang mararamdaman po natin, no, hirap po tayong umihi o yung tinatawag po natin na dysuria. Minsan po pag umiihi po tayo, mahapde, mainit po yung ihi, no? Then ang ano po natin, isa sa mga napapansin natin kapag meron po tayong lower urinary tract infection, no, nung namamaga yung pantog po natin, no, may amoy po yung ihi po natin, tas malabo, parang cloudy siya. Yung mga iba po, ihi sila ng ihi, no, kahit sa gabi, no, kahit di sila umiinom ng tubig, napapansin nila, ihi sila ng ihi. Tas sumasakit po yung pantog nila, no, yung puson. Yung mga iba, sumasakit po yung likod. Nahihirapan may mga partners po dyan, may pain po kapag nagtatalik sila, tapos nagkakaroon ng mga discharge. Yung mga iba naman po, yung ihi nila, may nakikitang dugo kapag nagpapatest. So yun yung sa lower urinary tract infection, yung nararamdaman nila. Yung upper urinary tract infection naman, no, yung kabilang po dito, yung sa bato po natin, no, kapag namaga yung bato natin, tinatawag natin siyang pyelonephritis. Yung urethra naman, kung nakita nyo po yung slides natin kanina kung saan po dumadalo yung ihi, kapag namaga yun, yung tinatawag natin na urethritis, no? Ang simptomas na mararamdaman nyo po doon, sumasakit yung bandang likod po natin. Nagkakaroon tayo ng upper back pain, nagkakaroon din tayo ng sakit sa may side, tagiliran po. Karamihan sa mga pasyente, nilalagnat po sila, nagchichills po, no? Mga bata po na nagkakaroon ng UTI, most common po, nawawalan silang ganang kumain, nagsusuka, no? Kapag po yun po yung mga nararamdaman po natin, malamang ang infection po natin, nasa taas na po siya. So, namamagana yung mga bandang taas ng parte ng ating urinary system.
Opo. So, ang ibig sabihin po niyan, Doktora, at mga ka-RTV, kailangan wag nating ipagwalang bahala, di po ba? Kasi minsan kasi ano lang yan, tumakbo na halimbawa ay umihi tayo, obserbahan din po pala natin yung ating ihi, no, para makita natin kung normal ba yung kulay niya, yung kung may amoy po ba, di ba? Kasi normally alam natin mapanghi ang ihi, di po ba? Kaya lang minsan totoo po yon na merong instances na parang malansa, di po ba? Parang merong ibang amoy yung ihi. So, importante po pala yun, Doktora, no?
Yes, ma'am. Isang ano din, hindi lahat ng mga sumasakit sa likuran, no, o yung pantog or puson is UTI na. So, maraming dahilan po kaya sumasakit yung sa likod po natin. Kaya ina-advise ko kapag ganun ay nararamdaman po nila, magpa-check up po kaagad sa doktor para at least po makapag-request tayo ng mga laboratories. Kasi ma'am, nakakatawa kapag may mga pasyente po na nagpapa-check up, sasabihin nila, ay may UTI ako. Kasi nga, nararamdaman nila yung sumasakit yung likod. Pero wala pa naman tayong basis na may UTI sila, nagre-request na kaagad sila ng antibiotics. Kapag hindi mo sila bibigyan ng antibiotics, yung mga iba, nagagalit.
Yun nga po, di ba? Parang, yun nga, Dok, kadalasan, yung simptomas na ganon. Minsan nga, Doc, excuse me po, no? Pero mga napapansin talaga natin yan, hindi talaga sila nagpapa-check up. Parang binibase lang nila dun sa mga na-experience ng ibang tao, ganito. Tapos, iinom din sila ng kagaya ng ininom na antibiotics. So, halimbawa, Doc, paano po nila mako-confirm na may UTI nga or kung ano ba talaga yung ititreat na infection sa kanila?
Syempre, ang una pong gagawin natin dyan, kapag may simptomas, i-assess mo yung pasyente, titignan natin, no? Kung sa likod po yung masakit po, i-rule out natin na hindi siya muscle pain. Ngayon, kapag nag-positive siya dun sa test na ginagawa natin, yung kinakabog yung likod, yung mga doktor, yung tinatawag, chine-check po natin kung meron pong costovertebral pain po dun sa likod niya, nagpapatest po tayo ng urinalysis. So, tandaan niyo po, kailangan natin ng urinalysis para makita po natin kung may UTI. So, sa urinalysis po, dun sa examination po sa ihi, marami po tayong makikita doon. Makikita po natin kung dehydrated ba yung pasyente, bakit kulay dark yellow yung ihi niya, baka kasi kulang lang siya sa tubig. So, makikita po natin doon. Sa urinalysis po, makikita din natin kung mataas po ba yung infection sa ihi, yung tinatawag po natin WBC or past cells po sa ihi, at saka RBC po. So, ang normal po na WBC sa ihi, dapat 0 to 2. So, it means malinis na malinis po yung ihi, wala talagang bakterya. Ganon din po sa RBC, yung sa dugo sa ihi. Normally, dapat ang babae hindi at saka lalaki, hindi sila nagkakaroon ng blood sa ihi. Unless, syempre, kapag nag-mens ang babae. Pero sa lalaki, dapat hindi mo yan makikitaan ng dugo sa ihi. So, ang normal po is 0 to 2. Para makita natin na may infection po siya sa ihi, kapag umaabot na po ng 10, 5 to 10 above yung infection po, yung mga numbers po doon, at the same time po, may mga nararamdaman na po siya, no? So, masakit na yung likod niya, may mga simptomas, doon po natin dinadiagnose na may urinary tract infection po siya. Then sa ihi din, ma'am, makikita din natin doon kung okay ba yung function ng, yung filtration po ng kidneys natin. Kasi kapag may sugar na doon sa ihi, lumalabas, malamang po mataas yung sugar niya sa katawan. So, importante po muna na makita po muna yung urinalysis bago tayo mag-diagnose po na may infection po siya sa ihi. Bago tayo magbigay ng antibiotics.
Pagka Doc, halimbawa, bakit kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng urinary tract infection? At sino ang madalas magkaroon ng UTI based sa mga ninyo, pasyente, ganon?
Nga, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, madalas magkaroon ng infection mga babae. No, kasi nga maliit lang yung passageway ng ihi nila, yung urethra nila compared po sa lalaki. No? So ang lalaki, madalang lang yan magka-infection. Usually nagkaka-infection sila kapag nasa 50 years old and above sila dahil kumakapal na yung prostate nila, so nahihirapan lumabas yung ihi, no? Karamihan din sa nagkakaroon ng infection po sa ihi, no, yung pinipigilan nila yung pag-ihi nila, no? So, lalo na syempre tayo kapag marami tayong ginagawa, ayaw natin ma-istorbo doon sa ginagawa natin kasi gusto natin tuloy-tuloy. Pinipigilan natin yung pag-ihi po natin. Mali po 'yun. No? Kasi kapag pinipigilan niyo po yung pag-ihi po, yung bacteria nagstay siya doon sa pantog, pwede na po siyang umakyat doon sa urethra natin, doon sa daluyan ng ihi. Hanggang aakyat na po yan sa bato natin, no? Pwede na siyang mag-cause ng pamamaga po doon sa mga urinary parts po natin. So, dapat pag naiihi kayo, dire-diretso po. Huwag nyo din biglain. Dapat dahan-dahan din para ma-flush out lahat. No?
Okay.
Kaya din nagkaka-infection ng mga babae. Kapag nagsi-CR sila, kapag yung comfort room is marumi, lalo na sa mga public CR, syempre, yung mga babae, uupuan po nila yan. No? Hindi nila linisin. Dapat malinis talaga yung toilet. Kasi aakyat yung bacteria na naman ulit dun sa puwerta po natin.
Okay, so actually, Doc, yun po yung tanong ng isang ating viewer. Doc, halimbawa po, madalas po kasi akong nagbibiyahe and umiihi po ako sa mga public restroom. Posible po ba akong magkaroon ng UTI?
Yes, ma'am. Kapag marumi yung toilet, may possibility po na magkaroon po kayo ng UTI. Kaya ang ginagawa po natin dyan, dinidisinfect po natin yung uupuan po natin. Kasi kapag nakita nyo marami yung public CR, maraming bakterya po na nandun. Lalo na kapag may amoy na yung public CR o yung pupuntahan po natin na comfort room, marumi po. Aakyat talaga siya sa atin. Meron din yung kaya tayo nagkaka-UTI din pala, ma'am, yung mga ayaw uminom ng tubig. Kulang sa tubig po, no? Yun isang reason din kaya kayo nagkakaroon ng UTI kasi hindi na nafa-flash out ng maayos yung mga waste products at saka bacteria sa katawan natin.
Opo. Doc, halimbawa po, nagka-UTI. Ito po, minessage din ako ng isang viewer natin. Kapag po ba nagka-UTI, usually, ilang araw po bago siya gumaling?
Okay po. Actually, hindi po lahat ng mga may infection sa ihi is nagpapastart tayo ng antibiotics. Meron mga iba po na may mga konting infection po sa ihi, pinapadaan lang natin sa tubig, no? Increase lang yung fluid intakes po nila, tapos sinasabihan ko sila, yung mga pasyente, wag magsuot ng mga panty or mga shorts na masisikip or brief na masisikip para hindi mag-maintain yung moisture dun sa puwerta po natin, no? Para hindi yung bacteria. Ngayon, at least 3 days kung nagkakaroon tayo ng infection at nagbigay kami ng gamot, at least 3 days po, meron ng mga improvement kapag nagpa-start po tayo ng mga antibiotics. Pero kailangan tatapusin yung antibiotics natin ng 7 days completed po.
7 days?
Opo. Pero at least 3 days yung mga iba po, nagiging okay po sila.
Gumagaling. Lalo na siguro, Doc, kung naagapan, kumbaga, yung mga start pa lang siya, nagpa-check up na po sila.
Opo. Kasi kapag hindi mo pina-check up yung infection mo sa ihi, pwede yan mapunta sa dugo. Yung bacteria, pwede yan pumunta sa dugo natin. So, yun na, magkakaroon ka na ng infection sa dugo, yung tinatawag natin na sepsis. Yun yung mga kailangan na ma-confine.
Doc, yung lagi po ako nag-UTI, sabi ng isang viewer. Hindi po ba makakasama ito sa akin? Dahil napapansin ko po, halos minsan or 3 beses sa isang taon ay nagkaka-UTI po ako.
Okay. Yan ang tinatawag po natin na recurrent urinary tract infection. Yung sa isang taon, 3 or 4 na beses sila na paulit-ulit. Actually, hindi po maganda ang nagkakaroon ng paulit-ulit na infection sa ihi. Kasi ang nangyayari po, nagkakaroon po ng peklat, yung mga daluyan ng ihi po natin, at nasisira po yung bato. So, i-check mo, bakit ba nagkakaroon ka ng paulit-ulit na infection? May diabetes ka ba? Siyempre, i-check mo yung mga ibang sakit mo. Or pwede po yung mga na madalas makipagtalik po, no? Isa yun sa mga reason bakit po paulit-ulit tayo nagkakaroon ng infection sa ihi, yung mga menopausal patient po, no? Kasi syempre nagda-dry na yung mga matatanda po. So, ina-advise po natin yan na magpa-check po sa OB-GYN para at least bigyan po sila ng moisturizer po or mga mga gamot po para ma-maintain po yung moisture po nila dun sa reproductive areas po nila. So, kapag ganun po, i-check mo, babalikan mo, or baka pwede yung antibiotics na tinitake mo, hindi pala siya maganda dun sa bacteria na kumapit sa'yo. Kasi iba-ibang mga bacteria po yan, hindi lang E. coli, may mga ibang bacteria pa po na nagko-cause po ng infection sa ihi. So, ginagawa dyan, Ma'am Kit, natin yan. Hindi lang pa ulit-ulit na urinalysis, urine culture natin. So, itetest po nila yung ihi nila, titignan kung yung mga antibiotics na ginagamit is effective po siya dun sa mga bacteria na tumubo po galing sa ihi nila. Urine culture po ang tawag doon.
Okay. So, yun po pala, no, para sa ating mga viewers, sa ating mga listeners, hindi basta-basta yung antibiotics. Kasi minsan po pa talaga, di ba, Doc, yung pag-inom ng antibiotics, halimbawa, nilagnat lang sila, tapos mag-antibiotics. Kumbaga parang namamali sila ng gamit dun sa gamot. Na dapat, kung ano man yung mga nararamdaman natin, especially, itong pinag-usapan po nating urinary tract infection ngayon, kung meron kayong mga ganyang mga simptomas, mas maganda po na magpatingin po muna tayo bago tayo uminom ng antibiotics dahil iba-iba naman po yung katawan natin, di ba? Kasi minsan, Dok, kung may kasama ako sa bahay, nagpa-check up siya, nagka-UTI, so parang nakikita ko yung mga simptomas sa sarili ko, so gagayahin ko na rin yung ininom niyang antibiotics na minsan hindi pala po pwede sa akin yung antibiotics na yun. So gaya nga nung nasabi niyo po, pwedeng iba yung bakterya na nasa akin kumpara dun sa kanya, siya nagpa-laboratory, nagpa-urinalysis, samantalang ako, hindi naman ako nagpa-urinalysis. Basta na ako uminom.
Kasi ang mangyayari nun, ma'am, magkakaroon sila ng resistance sa dun sa antibiotics kapag ginamit nila yon, kasi ginamit ng kapitbahay nila, tas ginamit nila, tas kapag nag-improve na sila, hindi na nila kukumpletuhin yung 7 days. So, ang mangyayari yung antibiotics na tinake nila, baka sa susunod, hindi na po effective sa kanila yon. Kaya nire-require talaga natin sila na magpa-check po muna sa mga doctors po nila para makita din po. Pwede rin kasi, ma'am, na kaya sumasakit din yung likuran natin, yung sa pantog. Pwede kasing kidney stones din yan. Ang kidney stones, hindi po yan kailangan ng antibiotics. So, makikita mo rin yan sa ihe. Lalo na sa mga lalaki po, kapag nagpa-urinalysis po sila, tapos nakita mataas po yung dugo sa ihe, no, pwede po nagkakaroon na po kayo ng bato sa mismong bato, yung kidney stones na tinatawag natin. Hindi kailangan ng antibiotics po doon. No, kaya hindi po lahat ng sumasakit po sa likod or sumasakit po yung pag-ihi is kailangan ng antibiotics. Sa mga babae naman, ma'am, akala nila pag umiihi sila is may masakit, tapos may infection. Mali mo, ano pala siya, ang problema nila is fungal infection, hindi po yung bacteria. So, hindi effective yung antibiotics na para sa UTI. Ang kailangan nila is antifungal.
Kung ano yung gagamutin, dapat yun ang antibiotics na iinumin.
Yes po, kaya sana po, klaro yan sa mga nakikinig po, no? Marami kasi ang lalo na online consult ngayon, kapag sinabi nila, hirap umihi, masakit yung likod, antibiotics lahat ang inihingi nila. Pwede naman, ma'am, yung mga home remedies sa UTI?
Yes. Opo. May nagtanong din yan, Doc. Paano po kung pwede po ba or meron po bang mga home remedies para sa UTI?
Meron, ma'am, yung mga kanina na sinabi ko, yung paano natin ma-prevent yung UTI, no? Yun, inom po ng maraming tubig, at least 8 to 10 liters per day, or kung kaya pa po ng mas madami doon, para at least ma-flush out po yung bacteria. Yung mga iba, ma'am, sinasuggest nila yung cranberry juice for UTI. Actually, ako narinig mo yun, no?
Yes.
Ayan, mga alternative medications. Actually, ongoing research yun. Pero sa mga nababasa ko, meron naman siyang effect kasi yung pH po ng ihi po natin, no? Ginagawa yung normal. Pero ongoing studies pa rin po yun.
Okay.
Sa mga babae, bawal magsuot ng mga masisikip, no? Para at least ma-prevent po natin. Yung mga hygiene wash, ma'am. Mga feminine wash.
Nga, Doc, oo. Safe ba yon?
Safe siya kung hindi siya masyadong mabango. Yung dapat hypoallergenic. Kasi kapag sobrang bango po, yung mga ginagamit po natin mga feminine wash po, nagkakaroon ng alternation po ng pH po ng sa puwerta po natin tsaka sa ihi. Ayun, nagkakaroon ng multiplications po ng bacteria sa puwerta po natin.
So, dapat pala, pipiliin mo rin kung ano yung gagamitin mo, feminine wash.
Ito, hindi lahat ng
basta-basta. Kasi, syempre, Dok, kukunin mo minsan, syempre, ay, gusto ko yung mabango para pag nag-wash ako after, mabango, di ba? Okay.
Sa mga naman, ma'am, sa mga may mga partners po naman, no, ang ina-advise po natin dyan, before and after po na magtalik po sila, umihi po. Umihi po sila para at least kung may infection po sa ihe, syempre may lalabas na fluids, hindi aakyat yung bacteria sa mga parte po ng urinaries.
May flush.
Yes po.
Okay.
Before and after.
Okay, Doc, meron ka pa bubang maidaragdag bago tayo magpaalam sa ating mga viewers at listeners? Paalala?
Sa lahat ng mga nakikinig, sa lahat ng mga estudyante din, no, hindi lang sa mga matatanda, no, para maiwasan po natin yung UTI, kailangan natin ng magandang hygiene sa ating katawan, no. Kasama yan sa school, kailangan malinis yung mga CRs po natin, laging maghugas po ng kamay, lalo na ngayon, no? Tumataas po yung kaso po natin ng COVID cases po, no? So, remind ko po lahat yung paulit-ulit po namin i-remind po sa inyo, observe po natin yung minimum health protocol standards po natin. Lagi po tayong magsuot ng face mask, no? Maghugas po ng kamay, mag-alcohol po. Lahat po ng mga hindi pa po na vaccine, no? Ini-encourage po namin kayo na magpabakuna po kayo, no? Yung mga hindi pa po nabubooster dyan, pwede po tayong magpa-booster kapag may 3 months na po. 3 months to 6 months, pa-booster na po kayo. Huwag na po tayong mamili ng mga brand, no? Sa mga bata po na hindi pa po nababakunahan, huwag po natin silang palabasin sa bahay, no? Mas maganda po kasi yung prevention kaysa po na masalisihan tayo ng COVID-19 kasi mas maraming magiging problema.
Opo. Okay, Doc. Maraming salamat at napakarami naming natutunan ngayong hapon to. At naway ang ating mga listeners at viewers ay marami ding natutunan at nag-take down notes po sana kayo para matandaan po natin ang ating mga napag-usapan po kanina. So, okay. So, good afternoon. This is Nurse Kichi, your segment host. Thank you, Doktora, our special guest.
Good afternoon po. This is Dr. Rabani, your medical officer at your service.
Okay po. So, see you sa ating mga susunod pa pong mga segment tungkol sa iba't ibang sakit na mapag-uusapan po. So, ang walang sakit ay malakas, di po ba? So, ligtas ang taong malinis.
Ligtas ang taong may alam, Ma'am Kit.
May alam at malinis. Okay, so ngayon nadagdagan po yung kaalaman ninyo. So, unti-unti nadadagdagan po ang ating nalalaman tungkol sa iba't ibang sakit na familiar naman po tayo, na nararanasan natin paminsan-minsan. Okay, so good afternoon and see you sa susunod pong Health Hour.
Goodbye po.
Bye.
I'm back. This is Sir Z, your teacher broadcaster.
Magandang araw mga kapantas!
Welcome to Aral TarlakHenyo,